Bringing you the latest news from around the world, and here at home, I'm Sandaru Ferdinando.
And I'm Azra Hassan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
Parliament heats up over the delay in debating Presidential Commission reports. Deputy Minister Punch Nilame signs no confidence motion against Prime Minister. SLFP General Secretary opposes no confidence. Economic growth lowest in 16 years. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy in police custody over Gaddafi funding allegations.
On to our top story now. Delays in submitting the report on the bond scam and the report of the Presidential Commission on serious acts of fraud and corruption was taken up in Parliament once again today.
A debate was held in this Parliament prior to this on the infamous bond scam based on the report of the Presidential Commission. However, on the second day of the debate, due to a point raised by a certain MP on the report not being available in all three languages, the debate was postponed until the translations were provided. We wish to know whether you have taken any steps to hold this debate. Honourable Speaker, what is the status of this matter?
I received a letter from the Presidential Secretariat yesterday noting that it would take at least a month because there are thousands of pages to be translated. This is stuck at the Department of Official Languages.
There is an English copy of the Bond Commission report. Can we not debate this until that is completed?
The majority wish to take up both copies on the same day. I will make the submission, Honourable Member.
If you are depending on the Department of Official Languages for this task, it will take a long time. I am saying this because I am aware of their capacity. I think it is appropriate to find other translators for this job. It is extremely unjust to use translation issues as a measure to prevent us from debating the bond report, especially at a time when there is a no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister.
It is not me, it is the Secretary to the President that has sent this to the Languages Department. I received a letter yesterday noting that it would be submitted within a month.
It is unjust to say that we must discuss the report on one party's theory today and discuss the report on the other party's theory later. Both must be taken up now. Thereby, as the JVP, we request you to at least employ Parliament staff to get this done without depending on the Secretary to the President or the Languages Department.
When reading these reports, the bile rises because it is evident that this has been done by the heroes who speak of patriotism while dressed in the pure white national garb. The other group wears suits and ties and speaks of democracy and good governance, appearing as gentlemen. These groups of politicians, with the tacit support of a mafia including officials, have done this for each other. If we do not free the country from this political corruption, we cannot even take a single step forward. These reports show that these gentlemen and patriots have stolen from a country where there are people suffering from poverty and despair. Is there any respect left for politics? Whenever a criminal case or other case comes up, it is only the small fry that are trapped by the law. Public trust in the three pillars of government has collapsed. When that trust breaks down, we are left with anarchy. If we as a state fail to ensure justice against these criminals, it is pointless to paint fairy tales of what will happen in 2025. No matter what side the thieves who stole from the country are on, the people are asking that justice is served.
The motion of no confidence against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is being spoken of all across all spheres. However, will former President Mahinda Rajapaksa place his signature on this motion of no confidence? Newsfirst carried out an opinion poll. Now, as of 6 this evening, 65% who took part in the poll say that the former president would not sign the no confidence motion. However, 35% say Mahinda Rajapaksa would sign the motion.
Back to back.
We will inform of that today. We have not withdrawn the motion of no confidence. This was initiated by Ministers Palitharange Bandara and Vasantha Senanayake. Because they did not proceed with it, we had to take over the matter. All members of the joint opposition have signed it and the SLFP members are on the process of signing it. We hope this can be achieved through the participation of all.
Two SLFP members representing the government have signed the no-confidence motion. State Minister T.B. Ekanayake has openly stated that he signed the motion. Deputy Minister Susantha Punchinilame has also signed the document.
I rushed from Trincomalee yesterday and was the 14th to sign the motion. I have done this voluntarily, especially considering the anti-public actions of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in the recent past and the need to remove him as a result.
However, speaking to the BBC Sinhala service, SLFP General Secretary Minister Dumindi Desanayake said the party had not taken a decision on supporting the no-confidence motion.
The party has not officially taken a decision concerning the no-confidence motion. There has not been a discussion on this either. At the same time, the group spearheading this no-confidence motion has not invited us to engage in it, nor have they discussed it with us. Personally, I am completely against the no-confidence motion. If the election result is a response to the government, then both Duminda and Ranil Wickremesinghe are accountable. Both parties, including the president, are accountable. No one is accountable by themselves.
At a meeting held at Temple Trees yesterday, members of the UNP parliamentary group had decided that SLP government representatives who signed the no-confidence motion should resign from the government.
If they support it, we are yet to see it. But if they support it, they cannot remain in this government. They must leave. You cannot sign a no-confidence motion against the government and remain in. If they sign, we shall see what happens.
The no-confidence motion against Prime Minister and the future of the government also featured prominently at the cabinet meeting held today.
The cabinet meeting was presided over by the President, with the Prime Minister also in attendance. Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka had submitted a motion on the journey of the government, while Minister Rajitha Senaratne had also commented on the matter.
In the 59th Cabinet notes, Minister Champika Ranawaka made proposals on the steps to be taken regarding stability of the government and the future of the country. He noted that in the absence of reforms, the government would collapse. Minister Rajitha Senaratne agreed with him. He noted that if steps are not taken, they would have to take a decision on it. I am saying the same thing. The path this government is on is not good. The President and Prime Minister need to sit together and do something. If not, there will be a change. I am not speaking of a change at future elections. I am saying that even we will have to make a decision even before elections are held. Separate governments will not be formed. There is only one government. It must work for the welfare of the people. The fertilizer subsidy must be given to the farmers as before, as the farmers have asked for. School uniforms must be provided as before, just as Ranasinghe Premadasa provided for it. Homes and roads must be built. Jobs must be created. When I spoke to the President, he noted that there would be another meeting with the Prime Minister. Both parties spoke in a manner which indicated that the no-confidence motion should be abandoned. It was reiterated that a group of young MPs must be empowered and that the government needs to prepare a new program. We also predicted that we may be forced to embark on a separate journey.
Today, Colombo Chief Magistrate Lal Ranasinghe recalled the warrants for the arrest of National Freedom Front leader MP Vimal Veeravansa and MP Jayantha Samaravira.
The warrants were recalled as MPs Vimal Veeravansa and Jayantha Samaravira, who failed to be present in court yesterday, had appeared in court today. Upon recalling the warrants, the magistrate had advised both MPs to appear in court at the appointed time in the future. Both MPs have been charged with acting in a manner which inconvenienced the public while protesting against the visit of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights on the 6th of February 2016. Meanwhile, UPFA Gampaha District Parliamentarian Prasanna Ranavira has been ordered into remand custody until the 22nd of this month by the Mahara Magistrates Court. The MP was remanded for failing to appear in court over an assault case against him. Ranavira has been charged with assaulting a man on the 22nd of February this year.
In more local news, the Department of Census and Statistics said Sri Lanka's economy grew by 3.1% last year, far lower than the 4 to 4.5% range projected for 2017. Reuters reported this was the worst economic growth recorded in 16 years.
According to data released, the agriculture sector reported negative 0.8% overall growth rate. The industrial activities recorded the highest growth rate of 3.9%. The services sector grew by 3.2% year-on-year. Addressing a seminar on financial inclusion in Colombo, Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy said that the overall growth rate is disappointing, but said that the underlying fundamentals in terms of the growth framework seems to be improving. Dr. Kumaraswamy also called for political stability.
But the elephant in the room is the political situation in the country. And I am not aware of any country that has been able to make significant progress without political stability. So the restoration of political stability is of paramount importance. It is particularly important at this juncture because I think, and I hope I'm not being overly optimistic, I think we were beginning to see some progress in a positive direction, both in terms of strengthening the macroeconomic fundamentals of the country, as well as putting in place a framework that would give us sustained growth. So the important thing now is to keep on track. We must not deviate from what we have embarked upon. What has been done should have been done quicker, that's for sure. Things have gone too slowly, but I don't think this is the time to deviate from the path that we have embarked upon.
The governor said the following steps have been made to increase financial inclusion in the island. The CBSL are promoting physical access to banking services with new branches in rural areas. Simplified procedures, mandated target lending to agriculture sector and SMEs, improved payment and settlement systems. A brazen bank robbery was reported from a private bank branch in Kiribati today, where the robber had made off with close to 1 million rupees.
Police say the suspect had arrived at the bank branch at about 1:20 this afternoon and made off with the money after threatening bank employees with a knife. Police said the thief had escaped on a motorcycle, adding that they are on the lookout for the suspect. We are aware of the bank robbery that took place in Kiribati. No matter who commits a crime, fraud or theft, the law must be enforced. However, far more serious bank robberies took place in this country. That is the central bank bond scam. It's been years since it took place and justice is yet to be meted out. There were other serious financial crimes that took place in the recent past. However, the law has not been enforced at all. The people who looted the central bank, the EPF and the ETF, as well as the people's money, must be punished.
The Ceylon Bank Employees Union say that recruitment of employees at the Bank of Ceylon has deviated from standard procedure.
An advertisement calling for applications for trainee staff assistants was published on the 6th of November 2016. Following standard recruitment procedure, the written examination was conducted by the Department of Examination on the 18th of March 2017. Out of the over 100,000 candidates who sat the exam, 11,000 passed. In a letter dated 7th March 2018, the bank had informed 3,483 of the candidates to attend an interview on the 24th of March 2018. While all this is in line with the standard recruitment procedures, according to the union, the cause for concern arose following the cabinet reshuffle that took place after the recently concluded local government elections. After Minister Lakshman Kiriala took the reins at the Ministry of Public Enterprise, the Bank of Ceylon was ordered by the ministry to cancel the scheduled interviews. As instructed, the bank forwarded this letter dated 12th March to all 3,483 candidates, informing them that the interviews have been postponed indefinitely. According to the Ceylon Bank Employees Union, the BOC had permission to recruit 11,000 who passed the examination. Amidst the allegations of partiality that the first tranche of candidates totaling 3,483 were called for interviews represented one area, the new minister had cancelled these interviews and will be calling all 11,000 for interviews. The Ceylon Bank Employees Union stated that there is a possible influence behind the postponement of the interviews.
On the 7th of March, a letter is being sent calling to attend the interview, and on the 12th, a letter is being sent cancelling these interviews. This is where we have an issue. The bank functions under the Ministry of Public Enterprise. The recruitment procedure was initiated under the full consent of the ministry. As such, we don't see any valid reason to stop these interviews. According to information we received, it was stopped following an order issued by the ministry. Therefore, it is very clear that there is political influence involved in this. It must be made clear that this is a state bank, not a bank of the government. There is a difference between the state and the government. This is an institution owned by the people of this country. The right of the educated children of the general public of this country to work at this bank must be asserted.
30 million rupees was paid to the Department of Examinations for conducting the exams, and 278,640 rupees was incurred for the registered post to inform candidates of their interviews and again for the cancellation. The union has written to the President drawing his attention to the deviation from recruitment procedure and substantial costs involved.
The management of the Employees Trust Fund is a cause for concern and requires close scrutiny as funds have not been made public since 2013 accounts and the fund has moved from one ministry to another.
Under the former government, the ETF was with the Ministry of Finance. Under Gazette number 1897/15, dated the 18th of January 2015, the Employees Trust Fund was placed with the Minister of Policy Planning and Economic Affairs, Child, Youth and Cultural Affairs, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. In spite of being in government for over 3 years now, the website of the ETF, www.etfb.lk, still displays the accounts for 2013 published in 2015. The total value of the fund at that time was 178 billion rupees. Based on the past performance of the fund and the last published accounts, experts suggest the value of the ETF must be approximately 250 billion rupees. Under Gazette Notice number 2022/34, dated the 9th of June 2017, the Employees Trust Fund was removed from the Minister of National Policy Planning and Economic Affairs, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, and given to the Minister of Development Assignments, Tilak Marapana. The ETF remains with Tilak Marapana as Minister of Foreign Affairs. This took place at the height of the Ravi Karunanayake bond revelations and 1 month after he was removed from the post of Finance Minister and given Minister of Foreign Affairs. It is in this same Gazette notification 2022/34 the subject of the National Lotteries Board moved with the former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In the Gazette notification 1897/15 dated 18th January 2015, the Ministry of Policy Planning and Economic Affairs, the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, listed under himself the following subjects: Department of External Resources, Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, ETF, Rural Resuscitation Fund. The central bank was subject to the bond scam which started just 1 month later on the 26th of January 2015, this involving the Prime Minister's choice for Governor, Archana Mahendan, who is currently evading arrest in connection to Sri Lanka's largest ever financial scam. The ETF, with a fund estimated at 250 billion rupees, has failed to make public its accounts since 2013. The ETF remains with Minister Tilak Marapana, who was forced to resign after a conflict of interest case relating to the Avantgarde matter.
National Unity Alliance leader Azad Saleh convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
The biggest rogue in the government is none other than the UNP chairman Malik Samarawikrama. His corruption needs to be investigated and we must ask where the money comes from. We need to investigate how many businesses he has and what his initial investment was. I received a petition yesterday which I submitted to the Bribery and Corruption Commission. There are 2 reports which were published on the Daily News and the Island newspapers in 2001. It speaks of an instance where apparel worth 500 million rupees which was to be exported being sold in the local market and a problem which has arisen with the monies not tallying up. The Inland Revenue Department had inquired into this and checked it, following which Malik Samarawikrama had to pay compensation. I came across 19 checks relating to this matter. Here are the checks. How did the checks that were not given to the Inland Revenue Department come out? This is a big problem. There are single checks which have been written out for a sum of 1.1 million rupees. The total sum of money paid through these checks amounts to about 20.9 million rupees.
Whisper. The pulse of the people. On Sirsa TV.
Over 8 killings have been reported in the first few months of 2018 alone in connection with underworld gang activity. Investigators say that these killings have been connected to a gang war between 3 underworld groups.
A man was shot dead on Messenger Street in the Colombo Fort area last afternoon, while another man was gunned down in Athuragiriya last evening. Police suspect that the underworld figure known as Markandure Madush, who is in hiding overseas, may be involved in both these killings. The origins of this conflict have been traced back to an incident in Obesekarapura Rajgiriya in 2016 when Markandure Harsha, the brother of Markandure Madush, was shot dead by notorious underworld figure Ranale Samyan. On the 17th of January 2017, Thanil Bandara, alias Banda, was shot dead in Athuragiriya, allegedly by members of Samyan's gang. On the 27th of February 2017, Samyan and 5 of his associates were killed in an attack on a prison transport bus in Kalutara. The police noted that underworld figures known as Angoda Lokka and Markandure Madush were involved in the shooting. Following the attack on the prison bus, Angoda Lokka and an associate known as Ladia had fled the country. Last year, a beautician from Athuragiriya identified as Manjula Sanduni was also murdered, as it was believed that she had tipped off the opposing gang members, leading to the murder of Thanil Bandara. Several incidents of gun violence were reported thereafter, leading up to the February 16th shooting this year of the owner of a vehicle for hire business near the Hulsdorf Court Complex in Colombo. This businessman has been identified as a close associate of Markandure Madush. One of the shooters was beaten to death at the scene of the crime, while police suspects that the shooting was carried out by members of the deceased Samyan's gang. On the 7th of this month, the decapitated head of one of the gang members involved in the shooting, identified as Kosmalli, was found near the court complex in Hulsdorf. The rest of the body was recovered yesterday in Angunukola Palace. Police also claim that Asita Kumara, alias Army Asita, who was gunned down in Borella on the 19th of November last year, is also a member of Samyan's gang and was involved in the killing of Markandure Harsha.
Many of these incidents are related to drug trafficking. When we look at these incidents, we see that many of those involved are remand prisoners who have been released on bail. The STF is working together with the police divisions and the prisons department to strengthen the existing surveillance system to closely monitor such remand prisoners who are released on bail.
Against this backdrop, over the past several weeks, the position of Minister of Law and Order has changed hands between 3 people. Sagala Ratnayaka, who served as Law and Order Minister following the election of the current government, held the position until the 26th of February. The position was passed on to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 26th of February, and he held the portfolio until the 8th of March when Ranjit Madhuma Bandara was sworn in.
There was tension at the Southern Provincial Council when Councillor M.K. Kasun entered the premises. M.K. Kasun and his wife are currently in remand custody following an altercation with a private bus driver in Koswatha, where a gun was also used in the attack.
It was only after this incident we came to know a provincial councillor can carry a firearm. This is a serious issue and concerns our security. We also have confrontations. There is only a few of us. I am not sure if the Venerable Monk is also carrying one. If this is the situation, our lives too are at risk.
An agreement was signed between the Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kenichi Sugamnuma, and the Sarvodaya movement to build a special school for the differently able children in Yakkala, Gampaha.
The project to build the school, named Susitha Suwaseta Special School, is being implemented with 22 million rupees funded by the Japanese government. Following the event, Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kenichi Suganuma, spoke to the media.
Meeting with the Prime Minister and we discussed about a number of cooperation issues in terms of infrastructure, in terms of maritime security, and we agreed that we will accelerate the cooperation and many projects that we are doing together with Sri Lanka.
The first National Symposium on Data for the Sustainable Development Goals, jointly organized by the Government of Sri Lanka together with the United Nations, was held in Colombo today.
The two-day symposium was attended by Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya, Deputy Speaker of Parliament and Chairman of the Parliament Select Committee for the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Tilanga Somathipala, UN Resident Coordinator Simrin Singh and several other dignitaries.
We have done a study with the budget and the SDGs. We wanted to see whether the alignments are right. We at the Parliament as a select committee, all what we can do is make sure there is policy, there's execution, we are making a monitoring of it and keep the pressure going.
President Sirisena's 2030 vision for Sri Lanka, elaborated in the PEC report, seeks to make our country a sustainable, upper middle income Indian Ocean hub with a prosperous, competitive and advanced economy, a green and flourishing environment and an inclusive, harmonious, peaceful and just society. The report explains Sri Lanka's balanced, inclusive green growth pathway, or I would call it middle path, to sustainable development.
The United Nations extends its support to the government of Sri Lanka in this crucial national process. Mapping localized data against the SDGs will certainly drive evidence-based policy making. It will enable effective monitoring, and it will, most importantly, ensure no one is left behind.
The petition submitted at the Supreme Court by a group including MP Dinesh Gunawardena challenging the draft bill of the Judicial Act was heard today as well.
The petition was examined by a three-judge bench comprising of Chief Justice Priyasad Depp and Justices Bhuvanekalu Vihare and Nalin Pereira. Appearing on behalf of the intervenient party, President's Counsel J.C. Valley Amuna pointed out that it is the white-collar criminals who are accepted as high class in society who are behind a majority of the financial fraud in the country. He further noted the financial crimes committed by such criminals, who seem to be the important groups in the country, have led to the entire society and in fact the country to become victims. President's Counsel J.C. Valley Amuna said, as the current legal system in the country does not have the required provisions to punish such criminals, it is essential that new legislation is introduced. Valley Amuna went on to say, while these white-collar criminals are trying to free themselves from these crimes using attorneys who charge the highest fees in the government, it is the people's aspiration to grant the highest penalty to these white-collar criminals. Further examination of the petition will begin on the 22nd of this month.
Now, before we leave you, a reminder, Bees First in Focus follows in just a moment here on TV1.
Have price controls and protectionist taxes helped farmers and industries at the consumer's expense? This is a question facing tonight's guest, Dhananath Fernando, Chief Operating Officer at Advocata Institute.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Azra San. Take care and good night.